very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Ashing Saneepir Singh. Now let's have a look at the headlines first. Central Bank says that they are highly positive on the external sector performances in the areas merchandise trade, tourism and foreign investment in the post-COVID period. Secretary of Defence assures to preserve all archaeological and historic sites from vandalism and encroachments by individuals and organised groups. News in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa requests banking sector to deviate from conventional thinking and practice in order to support the country striving to rebuild the economy badly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. President Rajapaksa made these remarks during a meeting held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday to discuss how to involve the banking sector in the implementation of post-corona economic growth and development program while identifying the issues the banking sector confronts with. Accordingly, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa added that the old economic model based largely on imports is no longer viable and that we must move towards a production economy. He further added that the banking sector can make a huge contribution to make this a success. President Rajapaksa, recalling that all sections of the administration, including the health sector, have worked with commitment to overcome the corona menace, said that he expects a similar contribution from the banking sector too. President added that there are many areas where investments could be made, such as the plantation industry, including tea cultivation, small and medium-scale industrial production, housing and other constructions, agri-based products, value-added cinnamon and pepper. President requested the banking community to provide loans at concessionary rates for these sectors. The bank representatives who participated in the discussion expressed their support for the government's program for economic revival. During this meeting, they presented some of the problems faced by the banking industry and agreed to discuss with the central bank and find solutions for them. Governor of the Central Bank, Professor W.D. Lakshman, Deputy Governors, Chairman and CEOs of state and private sector banks were present at this occasion. 9 more COVID-19 infected patients were reported early this morning as per the PCR tests conducted yesterday. Accordingly, Health Ministry announced that the total number of positive COVID-19 cases was increased to 925 by this evening. Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva, as the head of the National Operations Centre to combat the COVID-19 outbreak, announced today that Sri Lanka closes the chapter of isolated areas due to COVID-19 outbreak. Army Commander made this announcement after the health authorities took measures to reopen both the closed areas of Bandaranaike Mawatha in Colombo 12 and the Suduvalla area in Jayala for some period. Meanwhile, Health Ministry also announced that 32 more COVID-19 infected patients were recovered and discharged from the hospital today. They also added that the total number of recovered patients in Sri Lanka has now increased to 439. Ministry officials also said that 477 patients are still under medical care at hospitals. At the meantime, Sri Lanka Navy announced that a total of 151 naval personnel out of those infected with COVID-19 have been recovered and discharged from hospitals. According to the Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry, a total of 480 naval personnel was among those infected with COVID-19 as of this evening. A total of 180 civilians who were quarantined at the SLAF quarantine centre in Wanni left for their homes this morning. The SLAF said that this quarantine centre operated by the Sri Lanka Air Force was established on the instructions of the Commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Sumangala Dias, in order to support the government's efforts in controlling the spread of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. Further, Punani Quarantine Centre maintained by Sri Lanka Army also released a group of 98 persons who underwent the mandatory quarantine period. Sri Lanka Army said that most of them are returnees from India. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today after two negative result dates and one mixed note day. The all-share price index gained 45.5 points to close at 4,439.04 and the S&P SL 20 gained 57.76 points to close at 1,764.78. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange closed 0.6% higher yesterday, with turnover picking up with bottom fishers picking up stocks, but banks retreated amid foreign selling and new controls on dividends. After full day's trading yesterday, all share price index closed at 26.29 points higher at 4,393.54. Accordingly, stocks gained 0.24% at open this morning, continuing recovery from a circuit breaker fall at the start of the week. Ceylon Tobacco Company contributed heavily to ASPI's gain, up by 20 rupees, traded at 900 rupees a share. Commercial Bank yesterday ended the day down by 5 rupees and 30 cents at 55 rupees and 10 cents. HNB closed at 94 rupees, down by 80 cents, and Sampath closed at 103 rupees and 30 cents, down by 20 cents. However, Commercial Bank shares went up 2 rupees and 80 cents to trade at 52 rupees and 90 cents a share. It took place despite the fact that trading saw almost 2.77 billion rupees of foreign selling in Commercial Bank's share. The list of top gainers today was headed by SMB Leasing, and Lanka Ashok Leyland headed the list of top losers. John Keel's holdings remained the place of most active. The turnover was 1.27 billion rupees and over 26 million shares were traded. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. The trade deficit widened in February 2020 compared to February 2019 as expenditure on imports increased at a faster pace than the increase in earnings from exports. Central Bank issuing the External Sector Performance Report for the month of February 2020 today said that the tourism industry, which recovered faster than expected from a disaster, was affected again with another disaster. Central Bank said that the tourism industry recovered faster than expected in the aftermath of the Easter Sunday attacks, was affected again with the outbreak of COVID-19, and added that it evolved as a pandemic from late February 2020. According to the External Sector Performance Report, workers' remittances recorded a year-on-year growth, while foreign investment in the government securities market and the Colombo Stock Exchange recorded net outflows in February 2020. The Sri Lankan rupee, which remained relatively stable up to the second week of March 2020, depreciated significantly in the latter part of March up to mid-April 2020. The report says that, however, it started to stabilize thereafter and recorded a significant appreciation in the first week of May 2020. One of the positive signs in the report is Central Bank expects significant implications on the external sector performance from the COVID-19 pandemic from March 2020 onwards, particularly in the areas of merchandise trade, tourism, workers' remittances, and foreign investment. The deficit in the trade account widened in February 2020 to $574 million from $451 million in February 2019 as the increase in imports surpassed the increase in exports. However, on a month-on-month basis, the trade deficit in February 2020 recorded a contraction. On a cumulative basis, the trade deficit widened to $1,304 million during the first 2 months of 2020 compared to $1,069 million in the corresponding period of 2019. Secretary of Defence retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne assured to protect and preserve all archaeological and historic sites from vandalism and encroachments by individuals and organized groups. The Secretary of Defence gave this assurance to the chief incumbent of Muhudu Mahaviharaya in Ampara yesterday in a visit to the province accompanied by Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva. A high-level delegation led by the Eastern Province Governor Anuradha Yahampath, Defence Secretary Kamal Gunaratne, Chief of Defence Staff and Commander of the Army Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, Commander of the Navy Vice Admiral Pial de Silva, Acting Inspector General of Police C.D. Vikramaratne, Chief of National Intelligence and several other officials engaged in a visit in Digavapia and Puthuvil areas yesterday. The intention of the visit was to gather first-hand information over a series of public concerns, allegations and encroachments on lands of archaeological value said to have been occurring in the Eastern Province for a long time. Defence Secretary Gunaratne, speaking to the chief incumbents of a number of Buddhist temples in the area, assured that damages to national heritages, intended or otherwise, will not be tolerated and all possible actions will be taken within the existing law to bring the culprits to book. He also said that all the national treasures, the archaeological and historical sites will be protected and preserved irrespective of the religions and ethnicities for the benefit of the country's future generation.
මම විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ජේෂ්ඨ නිලධාරීන්වයි ආණ්ඩුකාරතුමියට ආරාධනා කරේ එන්න කියලා අපිත් එක්ක ඉතින් දේශපාලකතුමාත් ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නවා මේ ගැන බලන්න. අපි ඒ ගැන වැඩ කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා.
As an effort to rejuvenate the affected apparel industry at the face of the spread of COVID-19 outbreak, one of the leading apparel exporters in the country, Brandex Apparel Limited, has produced 200 million face masks to export to the United States. Accordingly, Special Representative of the President and Head of the Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication, Basil Rajapaksa, symbolically handed over the first batch of face masks from a production of 200 million face masks for export by Brandex to US Ambassador to Sri Lanka and Maldives, Elena B. Teplitz. The handover took place at the Brandex headquarters yesterday in the presence of Brandex Group Chief Executive Officer Ashraf Omar and other key officials. The face masks produced by Brandex have been manufactured combining the efforts of over 15,000 of the company's associates and an extended network of several supply chain partners in the country. The face mask, produced as 3-ply and of cotton-based fabric with antimicrobial finish, is stretchable for better fit and meets stringent hygiene standards. Commenting on this venture, board member of Brandex Apparel Limited, Ranga Ranmadukala, added that the apparel industry is a key export revenue generator in Sri Lanka, generating $5.6 billion of exports in the last fiscal year itself. Stay tuned for stock updates after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 45.5 points to close at 4,439.04 and the S&P SL 20 gained 57.76 points to close at 1,764.78. The turnover was 1.27 billion rupees and over 26 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all the news for today. See you again on Monday with State of Business. Until then,